Salutations, crustaceans. I'm Lobster, and today we're going to be revisiting my Ibanez EHB1005 Multiscale. Let's do this. This is my Ibanez EHB1005MS. This particular example is actually the first bass that I ever made a video on for this channel, and was the whole start of the channel. These basses were launched, I believe, in early 2020, right as the pandemic hit, and that made the supply of these very, very scarce. I was able to snag one of these in late February or early March from a European retailer, and it was probably one of the first ones in the US in terms of at least people in the YouTube and Talk Bass community. I was very lucky to get it, and this is pretty much what launched the channel. I made a few videos on this bass, and I've kept it ever since. Now, we featured probably over 100 basses since the inception of the channel, and a lot of things have changed. One thing that has not changed, though, is my ownership of this instrument, and I've always held on to it. It's a really interesting bass. I like the multi-scale aspect with the 35-inch scale B string and 33-inch scale G string. The fan isn't as drastic as something like a Dingwall, but it's very comfortable and easy to adapt to. I've also modified this bass with some Aguilar DCB D4 pickups. That's right, they're 6-string sized for the multi-scale, and I think that the result was spectacular even with the stock preamp. I've also added this little pick guard, but this pick guard is not like screwed in or anything, it's just placed on there and just a nice little aesthetic touch. I believe the person who's been making these has taken a short break, so unfortunately I don't believe you can get them right now. However, if you do have one, you're pretty lucky because I think they're pretty good looking and hard to come by nowadays. As for the specs of the EHB1005MS, this is a basswood body painted in a matte seafoam green. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. And that's paired with a bolt-on roasted maple neck that is 24 frets, stainless steel frets, and it is a multi-scale again, going from scales 33 to 35 from the G string side to the B string side. The preamp is an Ibanez in-house preamp featuring a master volume control, master blend control, a bass and treble stack, as well as a mid and mid-frequency stack. That's right, you have a variable mid-frequency as opposed to the Soundgear preamps that have a 3-way mid-switch. This does give you a lot more versatility, and in my opinion is one of my favorite Ibanez preamps. It's pretty nice and it sounds very solid, and if you want a bit more kick, there is something you can do to it as well. I'm going to make a separate video on that, but I'll discuss it a little bit at the end of this video. The hardware is also in-house Ibanez hardware, with some headless bridge/tuner units down here, and then some string retainers at the headstock. Overall, I'd say the string changing difficulty or pain in the buttness is about average. I've seen better implementations of headless string retention hardware up at the headstock from other basses. This one I would call average. It's not terrible, but it's not the worst thing ever. Now let's turn this bass around real quick. Around back, you see a medium-sized control cavity, a single 9-volt battery cavity with a battery door, and a 5-screw neck attachment here. It looks like a very solid neck attachment. I've had no issues with neck stability on this bass, and I've had it nearly 2 years, so everything has been great thus far. We can also see the back of this roasted maple neck that appears to have some walnut stripes. Now, I have discussed the quality of Ibanez roasted maple necks in the past, and I have seen examples of newer necks that have had over-roasted necks or fingerboards, or both. But this is an early example, and everything appears to be roasted just right in terms of getting a nice color, but also having that functional stability. In regards to weight, my example of the Ibanez EHB1005 comes in at 7 pounds on the dot, or around 7.2 pounds, I believe. It varies. The weight doesn't vary, but you know, it's a bathroom scale, so not the most accurate thing in the world. Regardless, this is a very lightweight and well-balanced instrument. There's no real weight at the headstock, and even in the lap, it's very comfortable. I've played this at a few jams as well using a strap, and I've had no issues with how it sits on the strap. Your mileage may vary though, I mean everybody plays differently. I play rather high, other people play low, and this may not be well suited for that. I don't know. Now I know you guys are wondering, what does this bass sound like? You guys know what you need to do? Go ahead and pinch that like button so my hand will turn back to normal. effects. As you can see, this is a very fun instrument to play and a very flexible instrument. There is really nothing getting in your way from navigating all over the neck. You don't have to worry about holding the neck in place because it really just stays put. You don't have to worry about anything getting in the way of your upper fret access because you really can just go all the way up here. In my opinion, this has superior upper fret access, especially for the B string, compared to a Dingwall. I have a Dingwall, it's over there. I'll do a separate comparison video in regards to their B strings. This is a 35-inch scale versus a 37 on the Dingwall. Not to say that the Dingwall's isn't better, because it really is, but that doesn't mean you should discount the B string on a 35-inch scale instrument either. Now, one thing I also have to mention, especially after playing a lot of basses over the past 2 years, is I feel like the stock preamp in its current configuration lacks a little bit of kick. I'm going to make a separate video about this. It's going to be a quick video, a solderless 5-minute mod video that you can do to add quite a bit of kick to your Ibanez EHB. You don't have to replace anything, you don't need to buy anything. It costs $0, 0 cents. All you need is a screwdriver, 5 minutes of time, and you're good to go. On the little preamp PCB, there is a +6 decibels connector, and we're going to utilize that again in a separate video. For now, we're just going to check out the preamp in its stock configuration here. So what you've heard was these two DCB pickups hooked up to that stock preamp, the blend centered, and the EQ centered as well. Let's take the blend and check out the neck pickup first. I really like how this pickup sounds. That's a real fat sound, and I've used DCBs in a ton of different applications, including my custom Valenti back here, and the pickup placement really matters a lot. This sounds very different than the Valenti back here. This pickup is definitely quite a bit more forwards as opposed to that bass, so you're definitely getting a different tone altogether, but it sounds great. Yeah. Now with the preamp in its current configuration, you can crank the treble all the way, and you're really not going to get a harsh tone, but it really kind of is the tone that you want to get at center, almost. Like, check this out. This is the treble cranked, mids and bass are at center. And then adding a little bit more bass to that gives you just such great tone. Now let's go ahead and scoop the mids and play with the mid-frequency control. Right now, we're going to bring it all the way down, so we're going to be cutting the low mids. Here's what that sounds like. play with that frequency selector a little bit. Very nice. Let's continue turning that knob. Very nice. Now let's go ahead and center the mid control, center the bass and treble controls, and we'll bring the blend to the other extreme and check out the bridge pickup. Here's what that sounds like with the EQ centered. Now let's crank the treble to 100% boost, add about 50% bass, and leave the mid centered. Here's what that sounds like. Now let's take the mids down to a full cut and start playing with the mid frequency selector. We're going to bring it all the way down, so we're going to be cutting the low mids first and take it up from there. So that is the bridge pickup. I'm going to center the preamp one more time, and let's take the blend to center. So we're going to have both pickups engaged. Let's take the bass up to about 50% and the treble all the way up now. Now let's cut the mids, take the frequency selector all the way down, and move it around a bit. Now I'm going to bring the mids back to center, leaving the treble and bass boosted as is, and I'm going to grab my pick. I don't think I've ever really played this with a pick before, especially on camera, so let's do that now, see how it goes. Still working on that. I'm gonna leave the EQ as is and take the blend control to the neck pickup and pick it one more time. And I'm going to put the pick away, and let's see how she slaps. I'm going to leave the neck pickup selected for now, and then we'll go back to both. Very nice, very nice. Now here is both pickups selected. Very nice, very nice. I have to say I did prefer the neck pickup tone as opposed to both. That being said, I think both still sounds great. And finally, let's go ahead and throw some drums behind this. So here are my final thoughts on the Ibanez EHB1005MS, slightly modified, after nearly 2 years of ownership. I gotta say that this is an excellent bass that's featured extremely well. It's priced at around $1,200, plus I think the modifications that I made in terms of these pickups adds another couple of hundred. That being said, I like the EHB1005 more than I do the 1505. I like it with these Aguilar pickups especially. I found the stock Bartolinis to be a little meh. But after 2 years of being on the market, I can say that there's really nothing else like it. Sure, there's plenty of other multiscale instruments, and there's plenty of other headless instruments out there that I would think are better values than the EHB if you're looking for a non-multiscale instrument. For example, I really liked the bootlegger guitars, and coming in at nearly half the price of an EHB, they make one quality headless bass. But they don't make a multiscale. And in regards to being multiscale, you can find other multiscale basses like ESP, Dingwall, and I believe Warwick Rock Bass is making some multiscale instruments now. Ibanez even makes a multiscale sound gear, but in my opinion, there's nothing else in the market that is like this EHB. You have 18mm spacing, great playability, great comfort, super lightweight, and you can get some killer tones out of this bass, especially with these Aguilar pickups. Again, I'm not a fan of the stock Bartolini BH2s or the MK1s that they replaced, but overall I like the preamp in this bass. I think it's quite flexible and works well with these Aguilars. It definitely is voiced well, and I think I got a lot of great tones out of this bass. Would I recommend getting an Ibanez EHB at the end of 2021? I mean, sure. There's nothing else like it, as I said. You really can't get a bass with these particular features at this price. That being said, it does look like the demand for the EHBs is relatively high, and I wonder if there's going to be an updated EHB in the future. I don't know anything about that. I'm not affiliated with Ibanez. I didn't get this through Ibanez, so I have no idea, but I'm really hoping that they introduce some new models to keep the lineup fresh. But that will do it for my revisit of the Ibanez 1005 MS with the Aguilar DCB pickups after nearly 2 years of ownership. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, everyone. Be sure to like, subscribe, join our Discord channel, and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about my Ibanez EHB1005 MS. And as always, until we groove again,